Think about everything that could go wrong in an underwater drilling station. I'm sure you definitely wouldn't think of strange, seemingly extraterrestrial creatures like this getting into the sea. But that's precisely what happens in the underwater movie. And only 2 survivors made it to the surface after the ordeal. The movie opens up at the Kepler station of Tian's exploration rig, and we see Nora Price having some monologue as she brushes her teeth and gets ready for the day. She laments that being underwater for months makes her lose touch with day and night, and there is only a wake and dream. Nora notices a spider in the sink and helps it get out safely. All of a sudden, a cabinet door opens by itself and she gently closes it. As she steps out of the bathroom after her grooming, she notices water leaking onto one of the corridors. An earthquake soon erupts and starts to destroy parts of the station. Nora runs to the control room while calling out for her coworkers, but not without facing life-threatening hurdles on her way. Rodrigo eventually joins her, and they make it to the control station while 2 other workers try to join them. Nora and Rodrigo encourage them to run faster. When Rodrigo sees they won't make it, they shut the door to prevent the big wave from damaging the control room and the entire rig. The room is badly hit, but they both survive and start to make their way to the pod station. They come across a computer room to find that the rig has been 70% compromised before heading for evacuation pods at the CR7. While on their way, Nora hears someone calling for help. They follow the sound to find Paul trapped under the rubble of concrete slabs. Now, 3 of them head for the pods. They finally arrive at the pod room to find that some people have left with the pods, and Captain Lucian is locked in the room. Nora opens the door, and he confirms that he stayed behind as the captain he is. Lucian takes them to the central control room, where they meet Emily and Smith. Nora checks the computers and confirms that the core is completely unstable and will be destroyed in 30 minutes because the cooling systems have been damaged. Seeing there's no way out, Lucian suggests they walk to the Roebuck by getting to the seafloor through a cargo elevator. The group is agitated about this at first, but when they hear the scary recording of the last transmission from the drill site and how temperatures have risen abnormally down there, everyone agrees to Lucian's plan. They all suit up by helping one another. As the elevator ascends, Emily freaks out, but Smith encourages her. Everyone gets on the elevator, and water covers them up, but the door leading to the cargo lift is jammed and accumulates so much pressure. As they override the system to open the door, Rodrigo's helmet starts to crack, and Nora tries to warn them not to open the door. But it's too late. The door opens, and Rodrigo's suit implodes, to everyone's horror. He probably picked a faulty helmet. They get to the cargo lift and start descending to the bottom of the sea. Everyone is horrified by Rodrigo's death, but Paul tries to lighten up their mood by calling out jokes. While everyone is trying to ease off, an alarm goes off, indicating movement below them. Lucian notices the sounds as distress signals from one of the pods that left earlier, and he sends Paul and Smith to check it out and possibly rescue the survivors. Before Paul goes, he sarcastically hands his toy bunny to Emily and says he will haunt her if the bunny doesn't make it. While Paul and Smith are away, Emily starts to panic again. She begins to ask Lucian and Nora about their families to ease off her anxiety, but Lucian calms her down. At first, the 2 men did not see anything, but they eventually find the damaged pod with a slimy substance surrounding it. They find the occupant's wallet with a family picture, and Nora is saddened to know that someone with a family has just perished. Paul then proceeds to check out the body of the victim being eaten by something. He gets attacked, and Smith shoots the thing down before they take it back to the cargo lift to inspect it. Emily explained that these kinds of creatures are not sustained in the sea unless the drilling process bore through a hydrothermal surface. Just then, the power goes out, and something starts to knock down the lift. An explosion happens above them, knocking the cargo lift into a freefall to the seafloor. They then hasten into the decompression chamber and make it out of the lift before it hits the seafloor. They make it to a nearby station amidst falling debris. When they get in, they find that Smith's oxygen scrubber developed a minor fault when he got hit by a piece of debris. They now board a car through the deep-bore access tunnel, but they stop when they get to a section where the water has risen too high for the machine. They keep hearing a weird sound, and Paul confirms that something is following them. They walk through the water and get to a dead end. Nora then tries to fit in and emerges at the other end, and others join her. Paul is the last to go. Before he does, he hands Smith a biscuit for his daughter and then notices something moving in the water. The group hears Paul cursing over the radio, and when they pull him out, something else pulls at him from the water until his limb snaps and blood fills his suit. At least he was able to hand his bunny to Nora before he is killed. They get to a decompressed chamber and realize that the 6,000-ton drill has been ultimately brought down. Again, Emily explains that it's because they drilled beyond nature's limit. Lucian sees a cracked window and tells them they can't stay in the chamber for long, but Smith's suit won't last long enough to get to Roebuck. They support Smith and continue to walk through the dark sea floor. Nora sees a creature clearly before it runs off, and they turn off their lights to stay safe. This is quite ironic because these creatures survive in pitch black darkness. Lucian turns on his eyelight, but the creature returns and pulls Smith away. The group goes after Smith and the beast, and Lucian volunteers to go into the tiny tunnel. He pulls Smith out but gets caught by the creature when he goes back in for his gun. The creature drags Lucian to a lit platform before disappearing again. Nora locates the captain, but the creature returns and confronts her. Just then, Lucian tries to save her by stabbing the creature, but he is dragged up, away from the sea floor. Nora hooks onto him, and they are both pulled up. Soon, the creature's speed turns pressure against them, and their suits are about to implode. But Nora wouldn't let go, so Lucian cut the rope to free her. Lucian's suit implodes, and Nora falls back to the floor. When she wakes, she is attacked by a tentacled creature. Nora runs away and into the shepherd drill, where she finally gets a break from her failing suit. She tries to make contact with the outside world to no avail. She then finds Lucian's uniform with his daughter's photo. Luckily, Nora also finds another suit, a map and a flare gun to help her navigate the dark underworld. As she continues to walk to the Roebuck, she finds Emily having a panic attack. She calms the nervous girl, and they find Smith and drag him along. Nora tells Emily about her dog to calm her nerves further. They finally approach the Roebuck station, but as they walk in, they realize that a handful of the creatures are napping above the entrance with their tentacles hanging down and blocking the way. As soon as they start to maneuver their way around the tentacles, Emily's suit sends off an alarm indicating that her oxygen levels are critical. One of the humanoid creatures gets a hold of Nora while Emily runs for safety, dragging Smith along. The creature starts to swallow Nora, but she kills it with her flare gun. The shot awakens other creatures, but instead of attacking Nora, they retreat away from her. This is when Nora notices a large figure, and when she shoots another flare, she sees a gigantic monster who happens to be the master of the other creatures. Honestly, her reaction is way too calm for someone who just encountered such a monstrous sight. Nora makes a run for it, but the monster triggers an explosion, which causes Nora to pass out. Emily finds her, and her oxygen tank is completely empty. As soon as Emily decompresses a section of the station, she breaks Nora's helmet to help her breathe. They get to the control section of the station, but the monster keeps destroying several other sections. Fortunately, they make it to the pod room, and Nora finds that there are only 2 working pods, and the third is non-operational. She lies that there are 3 functional pods so that she could send Emily and Smith off to the surface. They buckle Smith in and hand him Paul's bunny for the deceased's family before sending him away. It gets to Emily's turn, but she won't get in without Nora when she notices that the third pod isn't working. But tough Nora punches Emily in the face and pushes her into the pod. Emily succumbs, gets buckled up, and is sent to the surface. We see the pod flying past the monster, and it unleashes the smaller humanoid and tentacled creatures after the pods. Several humanoid creatures now surround the station, and Nora sees from the monitor that the giant has sent smaller creatures after Emily's and Smith's pods. We now hear Nora talk to us about how important it is to stop feeling and start doing. Just when the creatures are about a few meters from the pods heading for the surface, Nora accesses the core terminal of the drill and steals a glance at the dysfunctional pod before activating the core meltdown. The monster starts to move away but is caught in the implosion that eventually kills. We don't know if Nora survived the destruction, but the movie ends with news that only 2 survivors were rescued from the incident. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on your notification to be the first to know when we drop more recaps like this. See you next time.